Oi, have you completely lost the plot, Albo? No, seriously. While you're sitting comfy in your taxpayer-funded mansion, sipping lattes with your Labour mates, the rest of us are watching the country turn into a bloody surveillance state. And here's the kicker. Most Aussies haven't got a clue it's happening. You think that sounds dramatic? Nah, mate, that's underselling it. You ever heard of Trust ID? Digital ID? Yeah, sounds fancy, right? Convenient, they call it. One app to rule them all. One ID to get you into MyGov, Medicare, banking, flights, even buying a bloody meat pie one day. It's like if Centrelink, the ATO, and your driver's license had a baby, and that baby grew up to spy on you 24/7. Welcome to Anthony Albanese's Australia. And don't let the smile fool you. Albo's selling this as modernisation. A step forward. But this ain't progress. It's a digital leash. And soon, we're all going to be wearing it. Before we dive headfirst into this Albanese disaster, where freedom's being swapped for QR codes, privacy's sold off to tech giants, and Albo's grinning like it's a bloody upgrade, smash that like button, like you're deleting the digital ID app from existence. Subscribe if you're sick of being tracked, scanned, and scored like a loyalty card. And grab the Tax Me If You Dare shirt. Wear it to your next rent protest, data breach support group, or just your local servo while trying not to get flagged by Albo's new system. Shirt's in the description. Keep the fight real. You remember when they told us MyGov was optional? That you could still ring someone if you didn't want to use the website? Well now, if you don't have a MyGov account, you basically don't exist. Want to claim a rebate? Too bad. Want to report income? Can't do it unless you go through their glitchy, bug-ridden portal. They forced us into that system, bit by bit. Now they're doing it again. This new digital ID? Oh yeah, it's optional too. For now. But give it a year or two. And try booking a GP appointment. Or paying your Rego without it. Good luck. You'll be locked out like a Centrelink applicant on a Friday Arvo. Here's what Anthony Albanese won't tell you. This ID isn't just a card. It's a live, ever-updating profile of you. Where you live, what you earn, who you talk to, what you buy, where you go. All of it, logged in one giant government-run system, and they'll swear blind it's secure, even though they couldn't keep the bloody census website online for one night. You remember Optus? Medibank? Those hacks made millions of Aussies vulnerable, and now they want to shove all your details into one big juicy target for hackers? That's not security. That's a national disaster waiting to happen. Albanese is not just ignoring the risk, he's sprinting headfirst into it, arms wide open. But that's not even the worst bit. What they're building, with barely any public debate, is a system that could flip into full-blown social control any day now. This ain't a conspiracy. It's infrastructure, and it's already rolling out. Imagine this. You get fined for not paying a parking ticket. Then suddenly, you can't renew your license. Or worse, your digital ID gets flagged. Now you can't book a flight. You can't open a bank account. Maybe even your access to Medicare gets delayed. What's next? Can't pay rent because your ID's under review? This is what happens when power centralizes. And who's at the helm of it all? Anthony bloody Albanese. Now, Albo and his bureaucrats will swear it's all for convenience, that it'll reduce fraud, stop identity theft. Mate, that's like saying the pub burned down, but don't worry, the beer's still cold. You're handing over your freedom in exchange for a smoother QR code scan. It's like watching a slow car crash and yelling, "She'll be right," while the windscreen cracks. And here's the real gut punch. It's not just the government who will have access to this goldmine of data. Eventually, the banks, insurance companies, even private businesses will be plugged in. All talking to the same system, sharing your details, profiling you in ways you won't even know about. That dodgy purchase at midnight? That dodgy tweet you posted in 2018? Could all come back to bite you. Albo keeps saying it's voluntary. But voluntary in Canberra speak means for now. Until it's not. Just like the cashless welfare card. Just like MyGov. Just like the vaccine mandates. One day you're making a choice. The next, it's mandatory if you want to access basic services. But you know what really burns me? How bloody silent everyone's been about it. No outrage. No national debate. The media's too busy covering Albo's haircuts and photo ops with Taylor Swift. Meanwhile, this digital beast is creeping into our lives like a dingo in the dark. There's something downright eerie about how fast this is all moving. The bill got rushed through Parliament just before the holidays when everyone was distracted by Christmas hams and cricket scores. Real sneaky-like. No proper debate, no transparency, just a bunch of public consultations nobody even heard about. And when everyday Aussies did try to raise concerns, 23 of them sent anonymous submissions to Parliament because they were that bloody scared, the politicians basically shrugged and said, "Cheers, mate," before voting it through anyway. Anthony Albanese doesn't care about your privacy. He cares about control, about power. And if you think this won't be abused, just wait till the wrong person gets voted in next. Want to know where this path leads? China. Straight up. In China, their digital ID is the foundation of the social credit system. You do something the government doesn't like. Say the wrong thing online. Suddenly you can't book a train ticket. Can't get a loan. Can't even enroll your kids in school. And you reckon we're immune to that? We've already got the tech. We've already got the excuses. Just need one crisis. One emergency for Albo or the next PM to tighten the screws. You think that sounds crazy? Mate, 3 years ago, if I told you you'd need a QR code to get into your local Macca's, you'd have laughed me out of the pub. But they did it. We let them. Because every time the government says it's for your safety, we roll over. We trade our rights for comfort. And Albanese is counting on it. He's counting on you being too busy, too distracted, too worn down by rent hikes and dodgy landlords and $9 lettuce to even notice what he's building. He reckons no one's watching. He's wrong. We are. And we're done staying quiet. If you've got kids, if you've got a bank account, if you've got a pulse, this affects you. And you can't afford to be asleep at the wheel while they turn the country into a surveillance machine. Now they'll try to make it sound like this is just a smart move, that the rest of the world is doing it, that we're catching up. Don't fall for it. This isn't about catching up. It's about catching you, trapping you in a system that decides what rights you've earned based on whether you play ball. Next time you try to book a flight and the system says access denied, don't say you weren't warned. Next time your payments are blocked because your ID didn't verify, don't say this is just a tech glitch. And when you're stuck at the hospital, trying to prove who you are with a dead phone and no physical documents, remember who sold you this lemon. Anthony Albanese. He doesn't live like us, doesn't struggle like us. Never has, never will. He's not affected by digital ID because he's at the top of the chain. And people like him will always be exempt. They'll always have back doors. We won't. We'll be the ones standing in queues, calling hotlines, begging chatbots for answers when the system inevitably breaks down. Because it will. Every system breaks. But when this one does, it won't just cost us convenience. It'll cost us freedom. And I'm telling you now, once it's fully rolled out, there's no uninstalling it, no opt-out button, no refunds. It'll be baked into every part of your life. That's the future Anthony Albanese is building. A digital prison with no walls, no guards, and no key. Just a phone in your pocket and a system you can't escape. So, here's the question. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with handing over your rights, one app update at a time? Because the time to fight this is now, not next year. Not when it's already law. Not when your ID is already compromised and your access is already blocked. Now you need to speak up. Share this. Talk to your mates. Ask the tough questions. Demand answers. Don't just cop it on the chin and say, she'll be right, because it won't be. Not if Anthony Albanese keeps getting away with this. Not if we stay silent. Not if we keep buying the lie that this is for our safety. This isn't safety. This is control. And once it's here for good. So what are you going to do about it? Because if you're waiting for Anthony Albanese to pump the brakes, you're dreaming. Albo's not slowing down. He's got his foot flat to the floor, screaming toward a future where your every move is monitored, scored, and locked behind a government login. and you won't even know you're trapped until it's too bloody late. Let's be clear about what's really going on here. This isn't about keeping you safe. It's not about preventing fraud or making services easier. It's about power, plain and simple. It's about turning your life into data, selling it off to the highest bidder, and making sure you stay compliant, or else. Now, Albo will tell you, no one's going to be forced to use the digital ID. Yeah, right? And koalas are going to start paying tax. You reckon you'll have a choice when every major bank, every utility provider, and every government agency starts demanding it? When job applications require it? When landlords won't even look at your rental form unless you've verified through the system? It'll be like trying to live without a phone in 2025. Technically possible, but good bloody luck. They're already rolling it out quietly. Pilots in New South Wales and Victoria. Queensland's not far behind. Private companies being roped in to build the apps, the portals, the integrations. It's a feeding frenzy for tech firms. Billions in contracts, zero accountability. And all of it overseen by a government that couldn't organise a meat tray raffle at a footy club. And here's where it gets really shifty. You ever notice how everything's going cashless lately? You tap your card, tap your phone, scan your watch. Now imagine you tap your government-issued ID to buy groceries, then petrol, then to get on a bus. Harmless, right? Until one day you can't tap anymore. Maybe your score's too low. Maybe you shared the wrong post on social media. Maybe you missed a payment. Or maybe the system just glitched again. You think that sounds extreme? Look at what they're doing in China. One bloke there spoke out against the government and suddenly, bam, couldn't buy a plane ticket. Couldn't rent a flat. Couldn't even send his kid to a decent school. You know what they called it? Being discredited. That's the kind of word you hear in dystopian novels, not democratic societies. But here's the scary bit. We've already got the tech to copy that model. The infrastructure's being built right now. All it takes is a flick of the switch, a new policy, a national emergency, and suddenly your digital ID becomes your digital chain. You ever seen those ads on telly? The ones where they show you how easy it is to log into your MyGov account with a smile? Just scan your face and boom, you're in. Sounds slick until you realize that same biometric data can be used to track you across security cameras in public spaces. Combine that with mobile tracking, online data mining, and now a universal ID system. And what you've got isn't freedom. It's a bloody panopticon. And while Albo's out there grinning like a possum in a bin, telling everyone it's all fine, the rest of us are losing the very rights our parents and grandparents fought for. Privacy, autonomy, choice, the all of it. Vanishing like your pay on a public holiday. And you know what makes this worse? The people cheering it on. The journalists who parrot the official line. The bureaucrats who get their fat salaries to write reports no one reads. The influencers who post cute TikToks about how convenient it is. They're selling your freedom for likes and airtime. They'll tell you it's better than carrying around a wallet. They'll say, you've got nothing to hide. Well, tell that to the victims of data breaches, to the people whose identities have been stolen, whose lives have been torn apart by a few lines of leaked code. And don't even get me started on the banks. They're already salivating. Digital IDs mean no more pesky fraud investigations, no more lost documents, no more humans involved. Just data. Cold, trackable, manipulable data. They'll plug it into algorithms, feed it into risk models, and suddenly your mortgage rate goes up because you bought too many beers last month. Sound crazy? Give it time. But Anthony Albanese doesn't care about that. Nah, he's got bigger fish to fry, like hobnobbing with world leaders, posing for photos, and pushing policies that sound good on ABC, but feel like a punch to the gut in the real world. And while he's jet-setting, Aussies are working 3 jobs, sleeping in cars, and now facing the very real prospect of having to ask permission to exist in the digital world. This isn't just about politics anymore. It's about what kind of country we want to be. Do we want to be a nation of fair go, mateship, and freedom? Or do we want to be the Southern Hemisphere's answer to Big Brother? Because that's where we're headed, if we don't slam the brakes right now. Look around. Look at the trends. We've already normalized surveillance during the pandemic. QR check-ins, police drones, lockdowns that lasted months. And most of us went along with it. Why? Because we were scared. Because we were told it was temporary. Now they're using that same fear to sell us the next step. Permanent surveillance, digital compliance, data-driven society where your humanity comes second to your ID score. And don't think it'll stop with IDs. It never does. Once the system's in place, it expands. Always. Want to own a pet? Prove you're trustworthy. Want to buy plane tickets? Prove you're compliant. Want to protest? Nah, sorry. Flag for risky behavior. That's the playbook. It's been used before. It's happening now. You reckon I'm being dramatic? Ask the Indigenous communities forced onto the cashless welfare card. Ask the pensioners who couldn't access their super because of a MyGov glitch. Ask the gig workers whose earnings are already being tracked and taxed in real time. This is not theoretical. This is already here. And it's not just Labour. The Libs are no better. They'll keep it too. Hell, they might even expand it. Because once a government has this kind of power, no one gives it back. Ever. It becomes the new normal. And the people get more tired, more numb, more used to it. Until one day you wake up and realize you're not free anymore. Just managed. So what do? We fight. Not with fists, not with violence. With knowledge. With refusal. With resistance. You say no. You don't sign up. You educate your mates. You talk about it at Barbies, in the pub, on your TikTok if you have to. You hold the line. You remind Anthony Albanese that he works for you, not the other way around. You push back against the media spin, against the corporate bullshit, against the fake consultations that ignore every concern, unless it's written on bloody corporate letterhead. And if enough of us do it, loudly, proudly, persistently, then they'll have no choice but to listen. Because if they don't, we vote them out. Every last one of them. Albo, you've made your choice. You picked control over freedom, compliance over trust, surveillance over privacy, and history will remember you for it. But the rest of us, we still have a choice. So make it count. Resist. Reject the digital ID. And reclaim your right to be human in a world that wants to turn you into a barcode. Australia, this is your line in the sand. Draw it, hold it, and never let them cross it again. See you in the next one. And don't forget to slap that like button like it just locked you out of your own bank account. Oi, and if you're really fired up, grab the Tax Me If You Dare tee. Wear it to the next digital rights protest, privacy rally, or just your local servo while trying to prove your identity to a glitchy app that thinks you're a security risk. Stay loud, stay awake, and never stop fighting for the Australia we're being digitally robbed of.